This video is sponsored by ZocDoc. So I am turning 30 soon, which means it's about time to really lock in and catch up with things like checkups. These days, when I get a cold or sprain, I really cannot brush it off the same way that I used to when I was like 16. I've learned the hard way not to procrastinate with healthcare, lest the issue compound down the line and become way larger of a problem than it should have been if I had just been proactive. Of course, this means booking a ton of appointments with different medical professionals, which can be daunting, especially since I still cannot stand making calls and playing phone tag. Sometimes all of that headache happens and it still turns out that they don't accept the right insurance, or their next available slot is several months away. I don't have time for that, and I know you don't either, which is why I am happy to talk about today's sponsor, ZocDoc. ZocDoc is an absolutely free website that allows you to search and compare in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across nearly every specialty. From dental to mental health, eye care to skincare, and much more. You can filter doctors by their location, specialty, and of course my favorite feature, being able to actually see their available appointments. You don't even have to talk to anyone, just book with a few clicks. ZocDoc appointments are usually fast as well, anywhere between 24 to 72 hours of booking. Depending on availability, you might even score a same-day appointment. Put an end to that healthcare procrastination and go to ZocDoc.com/reignbot or click the link in the description box down below to find and book a top-rated doctor today. Big thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this video, and let's get right into it. So, if you watched my last video, you'll recall a brief mention of an episode on the FDQ channel called House of Mirrors, the focus of today's video and what I feel is a proper way to send this topic off, at least until we get more concrete updates that might tie the overarching story together. I won't spoil anything right now, but my next video after this will not be another mockumentary like usual, and instead a return to form that admittedly a lot of you have been requesting for quite some time now. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Allow me to walk you through the House of Mirrors and break down what makes it a standout bit of mockumentary horror, at least in my eyes. The episode opens with POV footage of someone entering a house. A mirror greets him at the entrance. Right away, we can see that something feels off. The power isn't working and no one seems to be home. It almost feels abandoned, but not yet to the point of decay. The cameraman starts walking through the house, combing through every room. And that's when we get a text card explaining that the cameraman was actually hired to be there. His task? To film all the mirrors in the house. Next, we cut to an interview segment further clarifying what we're seeing.
じゃあ、改めまして、初めからお話を伺いたいんですけども、そもそも家を撮影することになった経緯っていうのをちょっとお伺いできますか？
まあ家っていうのは母のなんか知り合いの方のお宅らしくて、その家の様子っていうか状態を撮ってきてくれっていうのがまずそもそものきっかけだったんですね。部屋に鏡があるから撮ってきてくれって。
When we cut back to the footage of the house, voiceover from the interview continues to feed us information. It's explained that this house was originally occupied by a man, his wife, and his wife's mother, an elderly woman who was suffering from dementia. The cameraman explains that the old woman had just vanished one day while the married couple were out shopping and hadn't been seen since despite efforts by law enforcement to locate her. Even stranger, all the doors in the house had been locked from the inside. At some point following this, the wife, for some unknown reason, started claiming that her mother was inside the mirrors, which obviously sounded absurd for many and was simply brushed off as grief. The couple eventually moved away. It seems the move didn't completely calm the wife down. According to the cameraman, his hunch as to why he was there was to gather proof that this woman's mother was not, in fact, trapped in the mirrors. From there, we continue to watch the exploration of the house. We cut back to interview footage where the cameraman is asked about the closet door opening on its own. He understandably explains that this freaked him out and caused him to promptly leave the house, and honestly, who can blame him? They then ask him about the mirror that was inside the closet and if he felt the presence of the old woman when he saw it. The cameraman, surprisingly, says no. The final moments of this episode confirm that the elderly woman was not spotted in the footage, but also tells us there's possibly much more to this house than initially thought.
いや、それは全然なかったですね。結局もうあの家はもうね、なくした方がその彼女のためにもいいってやっと何度か見せてちょっと納得してもらえたようですよ。はい。
If you have watched any of my other videos covering the FDQ channel, then you already know exactly what I'm about to say. This episode leaves us with more questions than answers, and on a personal note, this one really creeped the hell out of me with its twist. In case you weren't sure what you were looking at the end, it's brightened up footage that we've already seen before, revealing what appears to be a middle-aged man and a young schoolgirl. Again, as the text card said, a family that we have zero knowledge of, no context at all. Going in, the very obvious expectation here was for the old woman to be seen in one of the mirrors, but that is not what happened at all. And for me, there's just something chilling about a whole new set of people showing up without explanation right at the end. Of course, the questions just don't stop there. If the old woman wasn't spotted, then where is she then? What did the wife know about the mirrors, and why did she put them in every room? As many of you have probably noticed, the house was unoccupied. The married couple supposedly moved on, but for whatever reason, they seemingly left all of their belongings inside of that house. Of course, we're told that at the end the house was destroyed and that the land was on the market, but what does that mean for the people that we saw inside? Did the couple save the mirrors, and does that do anything, or was the house itself the issue? And on top of all this, we're also told that the wife felt better after seeing this footage, which, again, to me is just plain creepy because nothing about this footage should be effective at calming anyone's nerves. It makes you wonder even more what the wife knew, and if somehow seeing this random man and schoolgirl actually made her feel settled instead of unnerved, and the implications of what that even means. Now, having said all that, those were my initial thoughts upon first viewing. I already loved the episode, of course, but what I love even more about mockumentaries, or really just any film that's sort of a subtle take on horror, is when you talk to someone else about it and they point out things that you did not even notice the first time. I checked the comments for House of Mirrors, and that's when I found out that if you look closely, you'll notice that there's something very wrong with the footage from start to finish. I was so busy bracing myself for a jump scare and focusing on the mirrors themselves that I completely missed the fact that everything in the house was mirrored. When the cameraman films himself, the text on his shirt appears normal when it should be flipped. Text on packaging and boxes all appear flipped as well, which again is easy to miss when you're obsessively scanning just one element on screen. Everything being mirrored has pretty wild implications, and of course, furthers the mystery even more. If we take it at face value, we can assume that the cameraman was somehow briefly in the world of the mirrors, if we can call it that. But if that's the case, how did he make it out safely while the others seem to be trapped? I have seen some comments point out the moment the closet door opened, how it caused two mirrors to face each other, opening up some kind of portal. Of course, that's not confirmed at any point, and we're really just left with these pieces to try to put together as best we can. As I've said before, I love how ambiguous FDQ tends to be. I love not having an answer for everything. And that's still true here, but if I had to pick one FTQ episode off the top of my head to get expanded lore or even a part 2, it would probably be this one. Like, I'm creeped out just talking about it. But yeah, that was House of Mirrors. Again, this is going to be the final FTQ video for the foreseeable future, since I'll be bringing back a long-requested series to the channel. I'm sure that you can probably guess which one, but I won't say anything for now. With all that said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in a couple of weeks.